Good morning, bangers. Well, good morning, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's a little chilly this morning, but it's not near the freezing cold, snow and blowing kind of weather we woke up to yesterday.
That's right.
It's a lot nicer today. Today we're going to talk about two extremely dangerous events, and they happened within an hour of each other. So that's what prompted this video this morning. Thought about it a lot last night when I was going to bed, but before we get that, we got congratulations actually in order. Patrick here is over halfway through his training.
Yes, I am. Made it this far.
Does it feel like it's been a lifetime?
Half a lifetime.
Absolutely. But Patrick's doing real well. He's going to make a real good driver for us here at Magnum. I'm actually proud of him. He's overcome a lot of things in just 2 weeks. And, it's amazing when you get onto a truck with a brand new driver. And a lot of times the new driver, and you even said it last night, that you didn't realize or feel like you'd made much progression. And the reason that is because you actually realize that you've still got a ways to go, but that's actually healthy. That's good. But the fact is that your driving today is 100 times better than when you first got on my truck. So you're actually listening, applying the things that we're teaching, and making adjustments to your driving style. I just couldn't be happier with you as a trainee, man. You're right on course. You got 4,000 miles underneath your belt right now.
Oh, wow. Now,
we actually like to be a little over that. We'd like to be over 5,000 miles. But we had a truck in the shop one day, another day, a layover and stuff. So you missed a couple days of driving that you'd normally have during the first 2 weeks. So we're about 2 days in driving time and about 1,000 miles behind. So actually we're still on course. In other words, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about two dangerous events that we had last night. And they were within an hour of each other.
Yeah.
Just pap. Seems like things come in waves. And they definitely did last night. First one was while Patrick was driving. And before I even explain this, I'm going to tell you that I did the exact same thing as a new driver. But I did it when I was a solo driver. Right after I got out and I was running solo. And it happened on my second or third load. And some of you may be able to identify with that. Maybe some of you have done the same thing, especially if you've ran I-65 South through Indiana. I-65 South has got some construction going on north of Indianapolis and south of Indianapolis. And what they've done is they've repaved the road. And where they've repaved the road, there's an elevation difference of about that much, which you wouldn't think in the scheme of things would be that big of a deal. The elevation difference is about that much. Y'all have probably seen it when you come into construction zones where they've paved one lane and not the next, and it'll say warning of various lane elevation. Well, that's exactly what we were dealing with, but this was at the shoulder. In other words, they've paved the road, but they haven't paved the shoulder. So there's about that much elevation difference just on the outside of the exterior marker. The white line or the mayonnaise, either one. About that much drop off within inches of the line of the lane. And Patrick was actually passing another truck. Patrick was in the left lane, and I train hold close to the mayonnaise, hold close to the mayonnaise or the mustard whenever you're passing. And he was doing okay. He got just a little bit too close to the mustard, and he dropped that left front steer tire off that little bit of elevation. Now, an experienced driver knows that when you come off of that elevation like that, you're going to feel the truck pull, just like it would like if it blew a steer tire. Not quite as extreme, but close. And one of the things that you have to learn is when the truck yanks like that and lurches, that whatever you do, do not fight it and immediately whip it back. Because now you've got 80,000 pounds that is changing directions, the weight's all off, you basically have a truck that's out of control.
Right.
And it will feel like it's out of control underneath you. And if you immediate reaction, whip it back underneath your lane like that, the truck's going to wobble underneath you. And I don't care what kind of grown man you are, you're probably going to shit your pants when you do that.
Yep.
Were your pants clean this morning?
They were clean, but it was close.
I know. And this is where, as a trainer, you got to be thick-skinned, and I'll just say it, you got to be a little gutsy because you got somebody inexperienced at the wheel, and you can't really teach that. I mean, you can talk about it, and you can say these things, but nobody really knows what it is until it happens. So, I don't hold anything back at Patrick that his immediate reaction was to whip it back. But you learned a great lesson, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So whenever your truck does that, lurches from one side or the other due to an elevation change or a flat tire, your automatic natural reaction is to try to fight it back into the lane. Don't do that. It's better to get the vehicle under control on the shoulder than it is to try to whip it back in the lane. And here's where the test of a man comes into play. Most people like that, it wouldn't be uncommon, let's say, for somebody to go, screw it, dude, I'm done driving, I can't drive anymore, I'm rattled, I got to get out of the driver's seat, I got to park for a minute. That's perfectly natural. But as a trainer, just like when I was a kid learning how to ride a horse when I was little, Granddad always said, you got to get up, dust yourself off, get right back in the saddle, and go.
Yep.
And Patrick did that. He hung in there and got right back in the saddle and drove. He drove for about another hour after that. And you were definitely cautious of that edge on that road, though, weren't you?
Yeah, it was.
Patrick has been introduced, let's say that. But I think it's a better thing that actually happened while in training than when you're out there running solo. Because you had a trainer here that could say, hey, this is what happened, this is what we did wrong, this is what we can correct to be safe in the future. Now, in that same word, if Patrick said, I don't want to drive, I want to get out of the seat, I'd have been fine with that. But as a trainer, what I would have done is I would have drove and I would have got the truck up to interstate speed, and I would have demonstrated how to do that by letting the truck fall off that elevation. I'd have demonstrated it just to put Patrick at ease. But I didn't have to do that. Patrick actually manned up and drove right through it, so we're all good there. That actually wasn't the most dangerous thing that happened last night.
Yeah, there was another event.
Patrick drove his full clock. He drove a full 600 miles, obtained his goal driving time yesterday, but we were about 20 miles short of where we needed to be to park for the night, so I need to drive for 20 minutes. The most dangerous event happened last night while I was driving. cruising down the road 64 mile an hour. Scanning up in front of me, and I see a truck parked on the right shoulder quite a ways up in front of me. So I'm making sure my left lane is clear, and I got a way to get over to the left lane so that I can have a lane gap, in between me and him when I go by him. There's a little green pickup that's passing me, and I'm watching him, and he's going to get past me in time so that I can get over in the left lane before I get to that truck up there on the shoulder. So the little green truck goes past me, and as soon as he gets past me, I make my lane change into the left lane. As soon as I make my lane change into the left lane, the guy that's sitting on the shoulder, the tractor trailer that's sitting on his shoulder, turns on his left signal, and instead of getting his speed up on the side of the road, immediately turns his tractor out into the right lane of traffic.
Yeah.
No speed, almost at a dead stop, pulls right out in front of us. The little green pickup right in front of me swerves to the right and slams on his brakes. I completed getting into the left lane, go by the guy that just took the right lane. And I would consider that a near miss.
For sure.
That was a near miss. And I think I handled that situation correctly. You just never know what somebody else is going to do. You expect them to be a trained professional driver, and then you see somebody do that. Somebody else's mistake can get you killed. So be extremely cautious and careful. I even kind of made a joke of it later after I went by the guy. I keyed up on the radio, and I asked the other driver that pulled out in front of me, I said, what happened to that little green pickup that was in between me and you when you pulled out there in that lane? Because I guarantee you he was shitting kittens. Two big trucks passing each other at high rates of speed, different rates of speed. Dangerous. When I was a jump master in skydiving, and I was teaching guys how to do free fall, skydive, and all that good stuff, there was a thing that we used to ask people before they started skydiving.
Okay.
You need to ask yourself a question before you come out here trucking as well. The question we used to ask them in skydiving is, when you're driving your car and an accident happens immediately in front of you, are you the type that freezes up, grabs the wheel, and just slams on the brake and goes into a straight line? And if you don't brake hard enough, fast enough, you just run into the crash? Or are you the type of person that keeps your head about you, works your way through it, looks for your gap, and steer around the accident?
Yeah.
Which one are you? Because if you're the one that panics and locks up and joins the crash, then you don't need to be a skydiver. Also goes for trucking. If you're the type of person that locks up and freezes in an emergency, you don't need to be driving a big truck. You just don't. You have to continually drive the truck. Even in a situation where somebody else does something stupid and could cause you a major accident, you need to constantly adjust, do the emergency procedures necessary to avoid the wreck, and in doing so, not only save your own life, but lives of others.
Yep.
I think this is majorly important. So before you come out here, ask yourself that question. Which one are you?
Right.
Because you know yourself better than anybody does. You need to ask yourself that question. Well, it just goes to show everything can be going great. You can have good weather, you can have good road conditions, everything can be doing just hunky-dory. and somebody in front of you, off to the side to you, can do something crazy, stupid, have a steer blow out. You just never know.
Yep.
You got to be ready for immediate actions at all time. So I just wanted to share this video with you today because everything just doesn't go smoothly.
Right.
It's not always picture perfect. It's not always textbooks. Sometimes you have to overcome and improvise in an instant. But so there was 2 near misses, 2 close calls, 2 opportunities to have a major accident, and we both worked through them just fine. So here it is the next morning, a new day.
Yep.
Gonna be another 600-mile day for Patrick, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're all good to go and we're ready to roll. Anyway, y'all have an absolutely blessed day. God bless each and every one of you. Remember, you too can change the world. All you gotta do is be nice to each other. Bye-bye.